Greetings, everyone. Today is February 4th, 2024. My name is Patricia Hopkins, and today I will be reading from my preteen book, Invasion of the Globots, written under my pen name, P.T. Hopkins. Please enjoy. C.J. the Hero, Chapter 6, C.J. the Hero. Living 2 floors underneath the warehouse didn't allow anyone to know what the weather was like outside. It may have been a beautiful, bright, sunny day or totally overcast. No one ever wished for rain because that meant remaining hidden indoors while the Globots were free to roam under the protection of cloudy skies. As a self-designated safety patrol guy, Hector was usually up first. His daily ritual began with checking the warehouse's interior for potential signs of danger before heading outside to search their exterior. Once he determined the coast was clear, he set about locating provisions for the group. Hector returned with an armful of bottles. "Ooh, it's going to be a hot one today," he reported. "What's up, Hector? Anything interesting happening out there this morning?" asked Chobani. "I didn't see anything too weird, but there is no way the Globots are going to be out today in this heat." Hector grinned and looked to the younger kids. "You guys hungry?" The younger children gathered around Hector, nodding their heads, because they hadn't eaten since lunch the day before. CJ and Zap followed the others. Lulu ran around in circles, sniffing the group for food. One of the kids pulled a stale biscuit from her pocket and offered it to Lulu. The hungry dog eagerly accepted the treat, wolfing it down in one bite. "Come on, guys. Let's head over to the market. We can always find good food there because Globots don't eat anything that's not 100% fresh." "CJ, take your toys with you. We might need them." "Okay. Are you going to take your skateboard?" "Of course I am. Remember, I don't leave home without it." Hector and Chobani led the way. Lulu took her usual place out front. The younger kids followed the small dog, and Jeff and Riley brought up the rear. They made their way over to a corner market and did a bit of dumpster diving. "Look what I found," said one of the younger kids. "It's a bag of oranges and a loaf of bread still in its wrapper." Zap examined the food and asked, "What gives? These are the same kinds of foods we used to eat. You're telling me that the Globots eat the same foods that human eats?" "From what I've seen, they eat everything except meat," Hector answered. "Does it taste any different?" CJ picked up a dented can of creamed corn, turned it over in his hands, and then smelled it. "Tastes like it always did," said Hector, nibbling on an overly ripe banana. CJ perked up when he felt his action figure move inside his pocket. He tugged at Zap's shirt and said, "Uh-oh, I think we're in trouble." He pulled the Ninja Commando from his pocket and watched the plastic arms twist and turn in all directions. "Guys, it looks like we have company," Zap shouted to the group. 2 patrol cars were headed in their direction, coming at a fast clip. A group of Mogs patrolling the area on their Mogmobiles were moments away. "What do we do now? There's too many of us to run and hide." Chobani gathered the children together. "Take the kids and hide behind the dumpster," shouted Hector. Chobani gathered the remaining 9 kids and hid. "Jeff, Riley, you got your frisbee ready?" "Yeah, dude, let's do this." Jeff tossed his frisbee in the direction of the Mog. In one split second, the bright orange boomerang encircled the creature. The Mog swiped at the quick-moving object with his paws, trying to bat it away like a pesky mosquito. But all that movement did was upset its balance and allowed the frisbee to succeed in knocking the Mog from its Mogmobile. The vehicle crashed into a building below and erupted into flames. The Mogs were caught off guard because they were not used to having anyone fight back. They literally trotted off in fear with their tails between their legs. "Great shot," yelled Riley. Jeff did the same with the other Mogs until they were gone. Zap and CJ watched as the twins used their boomerang frisbee to pick off the Mogs one by one. However, despite their success with the Mogs, the Globots continued closing in. "Zap, remember you said I could try my space gun once we were outside?" "Yeah," Zap answered. "Do you think it'll work?" he asked, watching the 2 patrol cars close the gap. "Only one way to find out," shouted Riley. "Shoot them suckers, little man." Zap added, "It's okay, CJ. Go ahead." CJ pulled the space gun from his pocket and aimed like a pro. He gently squeezed the trigger and watched as the laser beam found its way to the patrol car. The car and the GLOBOTS inside disintegrated into nothingness. Whoa! Did you see that? My space gun shoots lasers, Zap. So shoots lasers. Zap! How cool is that? Very cool, but you're not finished yet. There's one more car left. Zap pointed to the patrol car that was just a couple 100 feet away. Using the same precision he practiced on shooting zombies, CJ aimed his space gun at the patrol car, took a deep breath, and gently squeezed the trigger. And as if it were happening in slow motion, the laser beam left his gun and made its way to the car. The car lifted from the ground ever so slightly. The GLOBOTS offered a surprised expression, and then they were gone, like they were never there. Seeing that the danger had passed, the kids jumped from behind their dumpsters and ran up to CJ to offer their congratulations and express amazement at what his space gun could do. Wow, that was amazing. That was awesome. Can I see your gun, kid? Riley snatched the toy from CJ's hands before he could answer. He aimed at the side of a building, pulled the trigger, and seemed surprised when nothing happened. Hey, that's mine. Give it back to me, shouted CJ. Riley held the gun high over his head, out of CJ's reach. You want it? Come and get it. Come on, give the kid his toy back. Hector then asked Riley, why are you always trying to start trouble? Aw, is the little baby going to cry? Riley stuck out his lip, taunting CJ. Zap walked up to Riley and said, give my brother his gun back. Now. Riley lowered the space gun and handed it back to CJ. I was just having a little fun. Don't get your panties in a bunch. Chobani observed the boy's antics from the sidelines, shaking her head. She asked Riley, why are you always acting like such a jerk? I told you other people's possessions won't work for anyone except those who brought them. Riley shrugged. I was just having fun. Geez, you guys can't even take a joke. He pulled his brother aside to hang back from the group. They put their heads together while gesturing at Zap and CJ. Hector gathered the others. We need to get away from here. There's no way of telling if the GLOBOTS requested a backup patrol before they were vaporized. Either way, it's probably not a good idea to stick around. He gazed at the group of younger kids. You guys only take the food that you can carry. The boys meandered through the neighborhood with the rest of the group, passing by the once boarded up businesses their father drove past just the day before. Where are we going now? Asked CJ, still upset about Riley's teasing. We usually go down to the Riverwalk to monitor the portal. Cool, I like it down there. He glanced back at the twins, who continued to clown around with one another. Chobani suddenly stopped walking. She pointed towards a small truck that resembled a garbage truck. Hey guys, look over there. What's up, Chobani? Asked Hector. He hoisted a bag of dog food that he found for Lulu over his shoulder and stared at the subject of her attention. They're collecting dead GLOBOTS, she whispered excitedly. So what? CJ said. What's so special about that? This means they are going to blast the bodies through the portal today, which also means the water isn't running, explained Chobani. Which also means we might be able to go home today, added Hector. All of a sudden, Jeff and Riley came out of nowhere and knocked Zap and CJ to the ground. Jeff snatched Zap's skateboard and took off running. Riley tried to take CJ's Ninja Commando, but it was tucked securely in his pocket. After they tussled on the ground, Riley finally gave up and trailed after his brother, laughing uncontrollably. The twins stood out in the open. Jeff taunted Zap by holding his skateboard over his head. Unfortunately for the twins, they didn't see the moths flying directly towards them, but the others did. Hide, now, Hector loudly whispered to the group. Chobani, Zap, CJ, Hector, and the rest of the children dove into a ditch and hid amongst the weeds. From where they were safely hidden, they all watched in terror as the moths zapped Jeff and Riley with their weapons. The twins dropped to the ground, allowing the moths to throw them on the back of their mothmobiles. One of the moths picked up Zap's skateboard. He turned it over and over in his paw-like hands. He smelled it, licked it, decided he didn't like the taste, and casually tossed the board aside. They both turned their noses to the air, sniffing for signs of more humans. When they didn't detect any others, the Mogs boarded their Mogmobile and took off with the twins. They were right. Those Mogs did toss them on the back like a sack of taters, remarked Chobani. I hope they'll be okay. They deserve to be caught, said CJ, brushing the dirt from his clothes. Jeff and Riley can be a huge pain in the butt, but they didn't deserve to be caught by those things, stated Hector. Meanwhile, the elimination crew continued to amble along on a ghoulish journey of picking up dead Globot bodies casually set aside by their families. The Globots wore heavy-duty biohazard jumpsuits for protection. They stopped at every house with a container sitting outside on the curb, methodically gathering the wrapped bodies. The arm of the truck reached into the containers and retrieved blue, shrunk-wrapped cadavers and tossed them into the back of his truck. Zap conferred with Chobani and Hector. So what do you guys want to do? We can either go look for Jeff and Riley, or we can try to get out of here while we can. I say we go down to the portal, check it out, and if it's open, send the kids back home. Hector surveyed the group. I think we should send back Hector and as many of the kids as possible. Then we three can stay and go find Jeff and Riley. Chobani peered through her looking glass. I agree with Chobani. Since Hector has been here the longest, he should leave first and take as many kids as he can with him. Hector frowned. Don't I get a say in this? Of course you do. What are you thinking? I'm thinking, what if it doesn't work? What if Chobani is wrong and the pipe isn't the portal that leads us home? Good point. Zap scratched his head. You guys know I don't mind staying here with you, and we do need to go look for Jeff and Riley, but I admit I do miss my family. Tell you what, I'll take Lulu with me and send her back to let you know I made it. If she doesn't come back, then you'll make it. Chobani gathered the kids. Okay, so what about Lulu? Who's going to take care of her? CJ jumped in. Don't worry about Lulu, I'll bring her home. Hector patted him on the back. Thanks, CJ. Lulu padded up to CJ and gave him a yelp. Sounded like she too was grateful for his concern. We have to be super careful because after what happened earlier, they're probably really looking for us now, said Hector, searching the sky for Mogs. Hold on a minute. I've got to get my skateboard. Zap, it's too dangerous. What if the Mogs are sitting there waiting for us to come get it? I don't want you to get caught. CJ held onto his arm. That skateboard is the reason we got stuck here in the first place, and I'm not going anywhere without it. Anyway, remember it has special powers? If the Mogs come after me, I can easily outfly them. Don't worry, Chris. I'll be okay. Be right back. Zap scurried across the street and hid behind a large tree. When he thought it was safe, he ran out into the open field. He picked up his skateboard and examined it for damage. And just as quickly, he dropped the board to the ground. CJ felt his ninja commando in his pocket start to move. Hector noticed a look of concern come across CJ's face as he removed his action figure from his pocket. Simultaneously, they heard the whirring sounds of the Mogmobiles as they appeared above the tree line and then quickly descend down on Zap. Two bigger and meaner-looking Mogs soared over Zap before landing. Hector shouted, CJ, shoot them! No! Chobani reached for CJ's arm. You might miss and hit Zap. CJ watched in horror as the creatures approached his brother while making that awful barking sound. The palm of his right hand grew sweaty as he gripped the space gun tightly, wanting to do nothing but blast the Mogs back to wherever they came from. However, feeling Chobani's reassuring hand on his arm, he relaxed and waited. Zap sensed the Mogs' presence before he actually saw them. He dropped his skateboard on the ground and prepared to jump on. His skateboard flipped upright and quickly shimmied towards Zap's feet. And just as the Mogs were about to grab him, Zap jumped on his skateboard and zoomed away. The Mogs jumped up and down screaming like angry monkeys. He gave CJ the thumbs up and shouted, I'm fine. Hector, get them out of here. And that concludes the end of chapter 6. I hope you enjoyed that chapter. Please visit my website at www.patriciahopkins.com for the complete readings of chapter 1 through 7. I hope you enjoyed this, and please purchase the book. It's a really great sci-fi book, not only for preteens, but for adults too. Thank you, and have a blessed day. Peace.